All right, I think we are ready to rock and roll. Of course, I thought that last week and I thought that the week before. And I noticed last week when I was listening to the archive of the show that it was incredibly quiet. And I don't know why that is because the pre flight check seemed like it was fine and the meters are peaking way up near the top. In fact, I was afraid I was clipping a lot of the time as I normally am, so I'm not entirely sure what happened there. All the settings seem to be identical, but it was indeed quiet even when played back on the computer. So it's not a YouTube type problem. I don't know what the heck's going on, but let's forget all of that. Let's just roll into things and say hello, everybody. OdatNurd here, aka Terrence, if you want to know my real name, and welcome to this Wednesday live stream of Sublime Text Package Development. We're going to continue the work that we started last week on adding bookmarks to the HyperHelp help system. If you recall, and I have, as a matter of fact, the latest version of Merge open with the changes that we did. We added bookmarks, a bookmarks setting to store our bookmarks, and there's a default in our function for retrieving settings to make sure that even if the file doesn't have one, we still get a sensible default out. We included a command that prompts you for a bookmark and then shows it. And we added that command to the command palette as such. And that is where we left things off. So let's go ahead and jump on into this bad boy and see what we can see. And here we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and just switch my browser window away from the live stream so it doesn't confuse me. But let's go ahead and verify I'm practically up into the red. Hopefully this isn't actually clipping when I'm talking. And if I move the cursor way down here into the corner, I can see it in the preview in OBS. So hopefully we've worked out all of the potential problems for this whole operation. So let's get back into what we were doing last week, and we're going to continue on. Let's just, again, I showed you the code, and we can see these are the lines that are added. So this very simple command will go to a bookmark based on its index, and these are the bookmarks that, oh, those aren't the bookmarks, sorry. These are the bookmarks that we currently have defined. There's a couple of different ways that we can define them, and this command will display one for you by showing the help topic and then also potentially changing the selection in the buffer and the viewport that we can see, and it uses input handler up here, which just simply uses simple text to give you the ID of the bookmark is its index. And if I say bookmarks, open bookmark like so, here are the 4 bookmarks as we can see in that thing down there. And if I pick, say, this one, no, this one, this is the Sublime Text window command somewhere around, I can't remember what was the line, 222, 22, something like that, with a defined viewport. Let's see what it does. There we go. Oh, line 27. Boy, I was way off. Oh, that's right. 22 was at the top of the window. And there was just a random selection that we created. So what do we want to do? We want to make this display a better name. We want to make it actually possible to make these things in the first place without having to manually do this and create them, which was a pain in the butt, if you shall recall. And I have my 2-hour timer. Everything seems to be set. And the last live stream was actually the shortest one by far. I did have like 3 or 4 minutes left on the timer, but that wasn't really enough time to get into any decent changes, and I didn't want to go over that one. So we can go ahead and when I fire up the timer, we'll do the whole 2 hours. Maybe we'll actually go a little bit longer to make up for that. I have a few things on my list here that all relate to this. And the last item is being able to browse the history in a quick panel, which is the emergency fallback for if somehow I manage to do all of these other items in only a 2-hour period. Technically possible. On the other hand, last week I did blow 40 minutes fixing the syntax file names and settings across various packages to allow us to actually have proper package settings in the help package. So there's always time for things to go horribly awry. Speaking of going horribly awry, would you like to see archives of me going horribly awry in live streams, or actually view them live while I'm recording? Hop into the chat, ask questions, get answers, and otherwise have a good time. Subscribe to this channel and hit the bell notification icon to get your device to warn you when the stream is about to happen. Or in the case of my iPad, it'll warn you that I'm live 5 days after I'm live when I just happen to open it up. And if you want to see less train wrecky kind of videos, I have another channel, the OdatNurd channel, also Sublime Text related. There's a link down in the description. You can subscribe to that channel to see more edited videos. They're longer videos. They usually fall in the range of 15 minutes to 30 minutes, but they're not nearly as long as these live streams. And those videos have been suffering recently because I have a lot of things going on and not much free time, and that's not going to get any better in the near term, because starting in December we're going to do a live stream a day working on a Sublime Text package from scratch and see what we come up with for there, and that's going to completely eat any free time I might have to work on videos. But expect more of those in the new year. And of course, if you reach down into the description of the video, you can find the links to both of those channels, and also they theoretically should appear as cards at the end of the video as well, if you so desire. But in any case, I'm going to fire up the timer and say, what do we want to do? Well, the first thing I have on my list is we want to have a bookmark name property here to give these bookmarks arbitrary names, because just calling them bookmark 1, 2, 3, 4, not a particularly cool plan per se. And we want to be able to give these things some sort of sensible name if there is no field named name here in this thing. And that's fairly simple to do. We can just create something based out of the topic and the package, which we know have to exist, or we're not going to be able to, the bookmark just isn't displayable at all if those two items are there. Remember, these two things together tell the system exactly what topic to display and in what help system the topic should come. Those are the two absolutely required fields. And both of these are the same. I'm calling this one a file bookmark just because this topic is linked to the file, which means it would just appear like this, and you would come right to the top of the file, whereas this one is a topic bookmark that would take you somewhere into the middle of the file, like so, for example. And these ones are just subtypes that I'm calling view subtypes, which allow you, as we just saw in the introductory area, to not only focus a particular help topic file, and in this case, these would probably always be the file name, because we are specifically changing the selection or the cursor location to a stored place so that we can make a bookmark that is exactly what we're seeing right here, for example. And the extension of that is this one has a viewport, which is the part of the page that's visible so that the entire view comes back, whereas without that, it just tries to center the selected text or the cursor location that it restored in the window so you can at least see the text that you bookmarked. Now, this is the sort of I don't think I really went over this last week, but this whole show help topic being an API function that takes the various options that it might need, the package to get the topic from the topic to display, and whether or not it should be fiddling with history, as well as its return type telling you if it navigated to a regular help file, if it navigated to a package file, if it opened a URL, or if there was an error that occurred. This was created as an API function specifically because I knew that, way back, I had nascent plans to have all sorts of the ability for code to display topics. Not necessarily just here in HyperHelp. I may not have known way back then that I was interested in creating bookmarks, but I knew that the command in HyperHelp for displaying a topic is one way to display a topic, and probably as a user of the package, you could use that for something like creating your own bookmark system or creating a menu item that just opens a particular help topic for you. But also, I was aiming at the ability for package developers to be able to navigate these things as well and use the API. And I like to keep a forward-looking goal on that sort of, like can I abstract away what I'm doing here into some sort of class or method or helper function or module level function that will do this work. So if I'm going to, maybe I'm going to use it in more than one place, and then I don't reinvent the wheel. If you watch my videos on my other channel on the Simple Notes plugin, I had a whole thing on trying to leverage the syntax as much as possible for determining where things and files are, as opposed to having a syntax doing that and then also having your own regular expressions trying to find it, the same text. Because invariably, when you have the same code in more than one place, there's going to be a problem with it, or you're going to want to modify it and you're going to forget. If you have n places where you have identical code through your project, it is practically guaranteed that when you go to modify that code to fix a bug or add a feature, n minus one of them are going to get updated, and that one remaining one is going to be left as a statistical hangover, and you're unhappy. So I'm thinking right now, this is going to want a default name for a bookmark if one's not here. Is there any other place where me might want to do that? Quite possibly. I can envision the hyperhelp bookmark command here having a description method on it. Well, let's flip it back this way. Right now, the only thing that needs to know what the bookmark name is this bookmarks index input handler, which is what is used here in the command palette, but not that one. This one, open bookmark, that displays the names of these bookmarks so that I can choose a name or choose a bookmark in here. This is the only thing currently that needs that name. Now imagine this command can be invoked with just a standard bookmark index, right? I could invoke this right from the command line. As a matter of fact, I probably did that like this. It's still in the window from the other day. And there it goes. Now, what if I wanted to create a key binding for this? Well, that's fine. I can do that. That's no problem. What if I wanted to have something in the help menu that I would add myself as a user, certain bookmarks, or because I know I personally look at certain help all the time, I want to add something to the context menu? Well, you can do that. You can create a menu item that has a caption, but wouldn't it be nice if this command actually did that too? So if that's the case, then two places need to know what the name of a bookmark is in case that there's not one here. And this would be one, and this would be one. So this seems like something that is ripe for being able to have an external function for. And for the purposes of this, I'm thinking that this aspect here, where it finds all of the bookmarks by asking for the setting, as well as, excuse me, this part here, finding the correct one, and maybe some of these other things, could be an API function in the same way that ShowHelpTopic is a function. There are various functions in the core here. If we just quickly look, we can see these ones I added for if you give it a package information and a topic dictionary, it tells you if it's going to open a file or if it's going to open a URL or if the URL is valid. If it's just a normal package This one looks up a help topic based on information to find a topic dictionary. These are for working with help files, reloading them, displaying them, initially loading them, finding the actual resource that is used to contain a help file, loading all of the help indexes, reloading those help indexes. This is all the sort of things that are useful throughout this package and also to external developers. And because there are things here for working with topics, perhaps we should also have ones for working with bookmarks. So we're going to work towards that goal. So I'm going to go ahead and abstract that away as a module level helper here right now. And then once all of the commands are solidified and we can see exactly how those are being called, then we can go back and figure out what parts we can pull. So for right now, we're going to say, and I'm just doing this here temporarily so I can look at this and then I'll boost it to the top of the file. What would this be called? Bookmark name, let's say, and it's supposed to take it'll take a bookmark, which is going to be the actual bookmark dictionary. And it's going to have to return something. Now, this is one of those things that could be simplistic. We could say if name in bookmark return bookmark name return placeholder, just for the time being. And now here in this comprehension, I'm just going to hide the sidebar so we can see more of the code here. We would say something like return bookmark name for bmark. We don't need the index anymore. And it's a list of items, right? So for, oh boy, that would have been for bmark in all bookmarks. We can go ahead and sort that later. But if that was the case, we'll just comment out that code. Now we're seeing placeholder for everything. So now this is something that could say name index.text in Sublime API, for example. And just like that, when we pick this, now that's being displayed there, which is nice. And we could similarly do something down here. Well, we're going to have to test that out anyway. So talking about it made me decide I want to do it. So let's just do that now. We make sure it's working as expected. Def description for self and bookmark IDX. And then we do that. See, now that is sounding like, whoops, something that should be some sort of API function. I shouldn't have to call setting to get the bookmark, then find the one for a given index, catch the index error, and do that. That could be something up here. This could be a underscore bookmark at index type function. So maybe we go ahead and add that right now too while we're at it. Bookmark. And I'll call it index, and we'll call it IDX thus. And what do we want to say? Display error equals false, let's say. And then we can scoop that and fix that. So all bookmarks is that. Try. We don't need to capture it, right? We can just say return that. And in this case, if display error we can log return none. And in this sort of case, I like to do so. Okay. And oh, before I forget, let's go ahead and do that and throw that. Whoa, we don't need it quite so big. Over here on this desktop, and make that part bigger. You can see the actual window over here. You can't see me sizing the window, or you can see me sizing the window, but you can't see me sizing the panel. Whoop, whoop, whoop. That's exciting. If you have a comment on this, do you very occasionally I refer to something on my right-hand monitor when I'm looking at, well, not the console per se, but in the web browser there. Is it interesting to anybody to watch me browse the web? Because I could perhaps application capture Chrome to be able to pop it up in the stream when I'm doing that if anybody cares. But realistically, I try not to do that as much as possible. The whole idea of, you know, having the help system for creating packages is so I don't have to leave Sublime and go into the browser. Okay, so now we're going to say what this. We'll just add some documentation to remind us. Given a bookmark index, return back the name of that bookmark. If the bookmark dictionary, excuse me, I was getting ahead of myself. Bookmark has no defined name. One will be constructed for return. Will be returned, let's say. And this one is return the bookmark dictionary. Dictionary for the bookmark for the user bookmark at the given index. If any, none is returned if the index is invalid. The optional argument can be used to signal an error in the status line if the bookmark index is invalid, let's say. And I don't like that, so let's reflow those. So that's telling us how that works. So it's finding all of the bookmarks. It either gets the index or it doesn't. And if we're going to do that, do we really want to, I mean, we can say def underscore bookmark count. Let's say we don't need any arguments and we return the length of HH setting bookmarks. Returns the current number of bookmarks that the user has created. This may be 0. Now, on the one hand, this documentation seems fairly simplistic, and you'll find in a lot of the code I write, and actually I'm not as bad at this or I'm not as good at this, depending on how you look at it, in Python as I am in other programming languages. I tend to be a prolific commenter and documenter for methods like this because as my day job, when I'm working on code, a lot of the time I'm responsible for maintaining code, both code that I wrote and code that somebody else wrote. And let me tell you, no matter how much you think, you're never going to forget how your code works. You're going to forget how your code works, and you're going to be real unhappy that you didn't drop a comment in. Now, it seems to me that people in Python, the Pythonic, quote unquote, I'm making finger quotes right now, way of doing that is to try and not comment as try to be terse and succinct and Pythonic about things. So there's a lot of places where I would add comments that I don't in Python. To some degree, it's sort of a self-documenting thing. Like this is a place that I would have put a comment to specifically say that ShowHelpTopic returns file in the specific case that it actually has navigated to a topic successfully within a help file as opposed to opening a package file or opening a URL. And if that's the case, we can follow up and also apply viewport. I'm not doing that here. See, now that's something that I would normally do. I probably also have terrible style requirements. So this doesn't seem like something that needs to be commented, but I'm just adding it here so everything is commented because I also like consistency. But in this case, This one is named this to remind me that bookmark is actually the dictionary object, i.e. this, as opposed to an index. And as a matter of fact, I could probably even do this. Whoa, wrong key. Oh, look, it's already broken, isn't it? This. Oh, look at that. Oh, okay, now let's do that. Okay. Now, that actually still needs to do that. Maybe we want to abstract that away as well. Def underscore get bookmarks, let's say. Some of these may not stay. I mean, this is perhaps silly, but it all comes down to get the list of user bookmarks from the settings file as a list of bookmark dictionaries. This list may be empty if the user has not defined any. Yeah, it's not going to work, is it? Bookmarks yet. But the idea is this. Okay, return the length of get bookmarks, and maybe we don't even need this one anymore. We don't need bookmark count anymore, say, because you can get the length of get bookmarks. Okay, so that's good. This is the sort of iterative design we do now. This is the whole idea of this realistically. Bookmark at index, we're going to return get bookmarks like so, is to mask from this code. This one would be the same. Exactly where the bookmarks are stored, because right now they're in this they're in the hyperhelp settings file as a setting. But remember, I said in the last stream, if you could hear me, because it was god awful quiet, and I'm still kicking myself about that. Maybe I can grab the archive and tweak the audio and re-upload it in place of the other one or something. Maybe we don't want bookmarks in the settings file. Maybe we want them in the JSON file instead. In that case, we're going to be unhappy if all over everywhere there's various places where the bookmarks are gathered and they're all calling HH setting to get it. So if we do this, this function is going to be responsible for getting bookmarks as long as we, as we're writing code, conscientiously ensure that get bookmarks is where how you get bookmarks. This can transparently be replaced to load the data from a JSON file and return it. And so that's going to get bookmarks. That's going to return the bookmark at index. If there was an error, it's going to do that. Now we get all bookmarks is get bookmarks. And now we don't even need, whoops, I pushed the wrong thing. We don't even need this anymore. We can just do, well, that was a little uncalled for, sir. We can just do this. Look how tight this is now. We can get rid of that one because we no longer need it. Let's get back to what we were doing here. Now this is what we want, the bookmark at index, right? So we want bookmark is equal to bookmark at index, bookmark IDX, and that parameter is a default value of false because the description method is invoked anytime a menu command, or sorry, a menu item contains this command and it doesn't have a caption. Do we need the status line being absolutely spammed every time someone right clicks if a person has added a bookmark and it's wrong? No, they don't. They need to know that when they try to follow it. They don't need to be harassed every time they open a menu. So we're going to say bookmark is bookmark at IDX. And if bookmark is, oh no, we don't have to say that. We can return what do we call it? Bookmark name for bookmark. If bookmark is not none, else invalid bookmark index. And all of that now goes away. And that seems to compile, and we're unhappy about that. So what if I said bmark? Is this the sort of thing that can be split over multiple lines without having brackets around it? Nope. That is the sort of thing that makes me sad, but we'll go ahead and do that. Let's say, okay, that makes it happy. That makes it happy. Maybe we don't even need to do that if bookmark name returned some sort of value when you pass it none, but we don't want to get too crazy here. Now, this reminds me of something else. This adds open bookmark to the command palette. Main.sublime menu in HyperHelp. Is it a package setting? No, it's not. It's in the help menu under HyperHelp. Now let's just look at the menu. This is the menu items that are here. That's the history. That tells us what help we're currently viewing. That's just always a commented out or a disabled command. But for example, if I went to Sublime Build over here in this thing, now that menu item says it's reviewing help for Sublime Build, just so we know what help we're actually viewing. Now, here's the logical thing. This opens the table of contents. This opens the help index. This is the history stuff. This has been something that I've been thinking about for a while. It seems like maybe there should be one of those there, just so the history for these things is separated from those. And maybe in this case, well, we don't want to actually do this. Oh, sorry. We could say here, the caption is what? We call it display bookmark. No, open bookmark. Open bookmarked help topic. And this is going to be a long one, so I guess we're doing it like so, but not that way. That one needs to have that to make the syntax happy. And the command is help book hyperhelp bookmark. Maybe that's not even a good command name because we're opening bookmarks. So maybe we'll take this opportunity to change that to open bookmark, and this will be hyperhelp open bookmark, and this one will be hyperhelp open bookmark. And we'll call this called open bookmarked help topic as such, and save that and save that. Now let's see. I'm not entirely sure if this is a good idea. Oh, there's a error in the console because Captain Bozo Pants didn't add brackets to that. And do it again. That should probably have an ellipsis on it, shouldn't it? I don't know what the, oh, I was gonna say I don't know what the Unicode character or the UTF-8 character for that is, but that doesn't matter because I can do that. Okay, there we go. Now we go. Open bookmarked help topic, and there they are. Now, I'm going to say this. We're proceeding with this. I can't remember if I mentioned it in the last stream or not, but commands that you can use list input handler, text input handler to do this whole thing where a command gathers its arguments from the command palette, which we can see when I do view package file. This is the same thing that the bookmarks command is doing. It's allowing me to select items from a list, and also the built-in arithmetic command lets you just type in random text like I+1 and insert stuff into your document like so. You can see a 1 there, which if you're not familiar with it, if there was more than one of them and you did it, and you could say I+1, you get that sort of argument where it does it once for each selection. In order to use input handlers like that, your command has to appear in the command palette, which is why we did this. And additionally, it also needs to implement an input method that determines if it should be using an input handler, and if so, which one to use. Now, specifically, this input handlers are only used, and this you might consider this an implementation detail, if your run argument contains at least one argument without a default value. Then normally when you try to run such a command, it would throw an error in the console that it expects of argument and you didn't give it, right? Internally in the core, well, really in the Sublime plugin file, you can view in the Sublime installation directory, when commands are executed, if they throw at that exact exception and introspection shows they have an input method, then input will be called and maybe input handling happens in the command palette. And that means that because this is in the command palette, it also works from the menu, because this command is called with no arguments when it definitely needs a bookmark index, and so this all works out. This also works from a key binding. Now, if you watch my video on my other channel for view scope file name or view scope stuff that I did in my common questions on scopes and how they work video, I discovered that there's somewhat of a bug. Maybe it was something that I was doing wrong. I'm not sure. Where if you trigger one of these commands without arguments from a key binding, sometimes it works. 90% of the time it works. And the other 10%, something weird happens in weird other commands. In my case, the syntax for the buffer kept switching to Python, even though it was something completely different. So I don't know how far along we can take this, but I'm going to go for it anyway, because if it is a defect, worst case scenario, we just remove these items from the menu and they can still be in the command palette. So now that is doing what we want there. Now, just as a test of this description method before I get too far off the beaten path here, if I added a new thing here and just said that the command was hyperhelp open bookmark. You can see the other command is still there because the plugin is still loaded from before I renamed the file. And it had, I need to pass it args, otherwise it's just going to do what this one above it does. And the argument is bookmark IDX, and the bookmark index is 0 for the very first bookmark in the whole thing. Now, assuming I did that correctly, when we come up to the menu, and we can see this, which is index.txt in Sublime API, which is the name that we gave that very first bookmark, right? And alternatively, if I change this to 1, we're going to see that placeholder text there instead. Boop. Okay, so that's good. That verifies that the description method works, which verifies that bookmark at index works, and bookmark at index calls get bookmarks to get all the bookmarks. So that verifies that get bookmarks works, and it's getting the name. So trivially speaking, bookmark name works as well. So I'm going to close the menu for now. And I also don't know if I mentioned this, but as much as I would like to have all of your bookmarks display in a menu, there's no way to have an open-ended number of bookmarks in the menu because there's no way to expand them in there short of generating a new menu resource every time the bookmark list changes, and I am unwilling to do that. So if the name field is in the bookmark, then we are going to do that. Now, as a matter of fact, let's go ahead and say if bookmark is none, then we can return no bookmark. That's probably never going to happen, but just in case, that protects the rest of this code. Now, if the name field is in the bookmark thing, it can return it directly. Otherwise, what are we going to need to do? We're going to need to do a couple of things similar to these. Get the topic, get the package and topic out, which is those two things. Now we need to decide how clever do we want this to be. Because what we could do is look up this help topic in the package to figure out what the caption is and return that as the bookmark name. And why don't we try to pull that off? That ought to be fairly simple, right? Because I know how my package works. I need something for, I don't have it in here. Dang. I was hoping that I already had a lookup help topic from the core. Thus, this is, okay, if you can pass it a string or a package info, it looks it up. It returns the appropriate thing. So we need to say import help index list and, whoops, lookup help topic. Thus, we're going to actually need this in another place. So maybe this is even more clever than I might have originally assumed. What does this do? If you passed a string, then it will look it up, the help index information based on the string to turn that string into an object and continue. And maybe it's none if you give it a string for a package it doesn't know about. Is instance none stir? No, none isn't an instance of string. So this doesn't trigger if you pass none as a package, in which case package info remains none, and if package info is not none, doesn't trigger because it is none, so it returns none. So we don't need to worry about passing a none as package info into the topic. It'll just return none. And similarly, we probably need to be worried about a topic being none because hi dot casefold returns hi, but none dot casefold returns a problem, and we don't want to do that. So we maybe want to say topic equals lookup help topic, and we want, well, you know what? We'll just for clarity's sake, do this. Okay. Look up the help topic for package and topic. And this would be topic dict, let's say. Now, everything has to have a caption, even if the system has to figure out one on its own. So we can just say return topic.get caption and that, which should never happen. And just like that, which I realize I say far too often. Stir object has no attribute get. Are you sure? Where is it doing that? Line 81. Oh, whoops. Topic dict. My bad. Reload the package. Watch this, he said, knowing that it was going to probably explode. Boop. There. View show pop-up menu. That's the caption. Those are just the captions on these things. Now, I don't know if I have an example of this per se. Hang on a second here. I don't know if I have an example of this per se, but if we look at data, there is that. So let's see. From hyperhelp.core import help index list as a function. And then package info is equal to help index list get Sublime API. So package info is now the information for that, and help files is package info.help files. And there's this. It's an ordered dictionary where the key is the name of the file and the value is the title of that file as defined in the help index. So if I said help file for index.txt, I get that. And from hyperhelp.core import lookup topic, lookup help topic, lookup help topic in Sublime API, the topic index.txt. The result is a caption of what appears to be the same thing. That's not necessarily true. I'm considering it maybe a best practice that the caption for a file should be its title as declared in the help index, but actually the help index loader, do I have a in help index laying a boot? No, I don't say a boot even though I'm a Canadian. Although you tell me, do I have an accent? This is an example of if you create a help file like this, the first item in this has to be the title of the page. And if that's all you did, it automatically assumes that there is an entry in the index where the help topic is the name of the file and the caption is the title, which is the case here in this usage. You see there's no explicit topic for usage.txt. There's just a topic named usage that also lines up with that. But here in basic.txt, we specifically define a topic of basic.txt and then give it a caption, which in this case is the same, so that we can provide it with an alias, which is something that doesn't necessarily need to happen anymore now that we can specify whatever help topic we want in a link, but that's a topic for another day. Pun mildly intended. Now, there's no reason why in this case this caption has to be that. There may be reasons why you don't want that. So I'm going to say that, let's say this. Index is, this throws an exception, right? Key error. Okay, so topic dict is that. If we could say if, let's see, I want to rename this to package info, because that's the, oh, don't do that, bro. Package info, because that's normally what I use for that. And let's also rename that, not that, but that, say the topic stir, so that this can just be topic. And it's getting mad because this isn't valid code, but that's okay. Now, if we said package if topic is not none, then we can do this. And here we can return no bookmark title available. This is the last recourse. You get the text no bookmark if you pass in a null bookmark. If it has a name, that's returned directly. Here we try to look up something about the topic in the bookmark, and whatever we do in here is definitely going to return some sort of quote unquote sensible bookmark name. The only way it gets to here is if the topic is none. As a matter of fact, maybe we can even swap this and just say if topic is none, return that, and then the rest of this part can just be edge on. So we can say if topics, no, we don't want to say topic stir. We don't want to say topic stir. I'll tell you why in a second. Topic in package info.help files, then return package info.help files topic. Is that enough ridiculousness? Well, that's certainly syntactically happy. And otherwise, we want to return topic.get caption. And again, once you look up a topic from the help dictionary with this, assuming the value is none, it's guaranteed to have a caption because the index loader generates a caption for you if one's not in there, even if all it has to do is just duplicate it as topic. So this can only happen in the most dire of circumstances, i.e., as the developers, we did something ridiculously dumb. In that case, usually I put something like developer screwed up in here, but we're not going to do that here. So if you pass a bookmark dictionary that doesn't exist, you get no bookmark. If the bookmark has a name, return it directly. Otherwise, look up the topic. If it didn't find it, then no bookmark title is available. Let's just say bookmark specifies invalid topic. And otherwise, if the topic that we looked up is in the help file list, return the title of the help file, otherwise return the caption. Now, why we're using if topic in instead of topic stir is because in the index, topics are always lowercase, but when you call lookup help topic, you can provide any case you want, as we just saw when I was fiddling around in core. It calls casefold on the value that you provide to make sure that it will look it up. So the topic that you get back in the topic dictionary is the canonical topic, which may or may not be different from the text that you provided to the call, in which case, I mean, in this case, index.text with the wrong case really shouldn't work, but it does anyway. And that's mildly annoying to me because file names, I think, should always be case sensitive, even though Windows and Mac OS generally don't work that way. But this is the safety feature for that. Now, I think with that, open bookmarked help topic. Oh, stir object has no attribute help files. Hmm. Oh, I did not look up package info. That's unfortunate. Okay, I guess this one should be package stir. Get the package string. No. We're going to say package info is equal to help index list dot get bookmark dot get package. You don't want to call get with none, I suppose, right? Well, I guess that works. Rock on. So now that works like that. Topic stirs that. Do we actually care about topic stir anywhere other than that? No. So we can, in fact, inline this here. And there, that makes that a little nicer. How about now? Global name package stir is not defined. Did I forget one? Wait, what line is this happening in? In lookup help topic. Oh, right. It can be that now. Let's reload the whole shebang. Bookmark. There we go. View show pop up. We're still getting what appears to be the same sort of thing, but we're going to say print topic is a file name and %s that and %it and say topic. Reload, and for the purposes of this, we're going to open that so we can see when I do bookmarks. We see topic as a file name window command and topic as a file name window command dot text. And let's just see here. This should be, but doesn't have to be a file. I'm going to do that. See, it reloaded the settings. And bookmark, open bookmarked help topic. Now only topic is a file window command dot text, but Sublime plugin, we still see the same text there, and that's because if I search for browse available help and go back to the API and then do window command to type that, we can see this one has the topic window command dot text, which is the file, and it has that caption because that's the name. And this one is the topic window command, which does the same thing. And this one takes you there. And the one without the file name takes you there. So this one specifically has the same caption as that for index purposes. It should actually say window command class and not Sublime plugin.window command class. Then it would be slightly different. But in any case, proving that's doing what we want. And let's go ahead and do that too. So that's nice. And maybe just for giggles here, this is returning the name of the file plus, we can say /t plus topic. Because this is something to consider for later. Well, actually, we want bookmarks, don't we? You can do that and get text on the side that provides the caption. So maybe that's useful. It requires more working here, though. Well, for our purposes, if bookmark was mine, do that. Now here's the thing. If we want to do that, and we actually shouldn't do that here, that should be happening in the other thing. So we definitely don't want to do that here. If we were going to do that, then we would do it here and say bookmark name plus the tab and the other thing. So we're not going to do anything about that right now. Should comment this and say provide a list input handler that allows the user to select a bookmark index, a bookmark by index based on the name provided, the name for the bookmark. Provide a list input handler that allows the user to select a bookmark by showing them a list of all bookmarks by name. Now here's the thing, should bookmarks be sorted or should they be just in native order? Because I think, browsers don't sort your bookmarks. I probably don't want to do that either. So let's not worry about that right there. So if it's none or none, do that. That part looks okay. Description method only gets called when the command is in a menu item, so that's okay. And that's okay. So this is, I think, that's why I typed that, more or less doing what we want. Now, we're going to assume that bookmarks are going to have a name because we're going to write the command that makes it easier for you to generate them, and it can come up with a clever name, like it could at least more or less do the same thing as this. So let's go ahead and, well, should this stuff be here? For the time being, until we get more bookmark action in Toto, let's go ahead and throw that up here. And copy that. Make sure everything's spaced nicely. So reload, things seem to reload. For some reason, there we go. For all the things getgutter does, sometimes it doesn't actually do the thing I want and show those things there. And instead, it just constantly gives me upgrade warnings. So that's all that stuff. This is pending addition to the core once we have all of the commands that work with bookmarks outlined and ready to go. And then here we have a bookmark index handler and an open bookmark command. So let's go ahead and actually commit this stuff. Now we have 5 files here, and in the interim from last week, you may have remembered I was using a version of Merge that had a slight bug where when you committed to or staged some files, the display over here would be wrong until you scrolled. There was actually a fix for that in the next build, but I hadn't gotten around to uploading it yet or using it yet, I think. Or maybe it came out the day after I did that. In any case, I've fixed it now. We are in master, but we want to say, do I have a branch for bookmarks? No. Create branch bookmarks. Now we want to say various things here. Let's see. We're going to stage this hunk because this adds the actual setting to our core thing to make it a setting that exists. And we are going to commit this because this actually sets up the default value for when you call this if the file doesn't have the appropriate setting. And we're going to leave this out because we don't have a command yet. We're going to leave that out because we don't have a command yet. Here in commands, we have the command. They're down here. It's down here. But what I'm actually going to do is, see, this uses HH setting, so I'm going to stage that line. And this here for bookmark name uses lookup help topic. So I'm going to stage that line. And then the remainder of this hunk, now I could have done that, all in one stage hunk, but sometimes I like to work piecemeal and logically talk my way through things. These are the quote unquote API functions for bookmarks, which I'm including in this commit because they sort of describe to some degree the contract that a bookmark is supposed to have, like a name for the time being. And we can also assume that it has a package and a topic that's in it. The other parts aren't specifically needed, so they don't specifically need anything here. So I'm going to stage that hunk. And now, okay, that's the command we haven't added yet. That's the command we haven't added yet. And this is literally the command we haven't added yet. So let's go up here and say include a setting for storing bookmarks, user bookmarks. This includes a new setting called bookmarks for storing bookmarked for storing a list of topics. Nope, a list of topics that the user has decided to bookmark. Each bookmark contains information on the topic and package being bookmarked, a name for display in menus, and the command palette as well as optional cursor and viewport information. Included in this commit is a small set of potential API functions for working with bookmarks while we flesh out what the API should look like. And away we go. And then we can go ahead and say this is actually the command that we want to add. Now let's think about this. It is a command that opens a bookmark. And actually, before I go any further, let's quit and restart. Open the console over there. That is all good. And we can still open bookmarks and see them and navigate to them. Although, oh, look at that. Something is broken. Oh, it's a good thing that I did that. Well, actually, this is the command that's broken. All bookmarks. What is actually broken is line 126. Because list indices must be integers, not strings. Huh. Have I not tested this since we did something? Oh, it used to have an index in it, didn't it? It used to be a list of lists, or a tuple-y type thing. That's right. Yeah. It needs to be the string and the value. I forgot that part. My bad. IDX. So this needs to be the string to display and the index for that in enumerate. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay. Function object is not iterable. Look, I did it again. How many times am I going to do that? Probably 10. There we go. Now we're working again. Swankadoodle-doo. Okay, now once again, quit that and restart. But that proves that the rest of the stuff still actually worked. So huzzah for that. And we can come back into here and now actually commit this command. Now again, it displays the bookmark. It goes to that particular location doing exactly what we want to happen. It has a description method if you want to use it in a menu. If you don't provide a bookmark index, what happens? There is something that we should probably consider. These are in the wrong order now, and that makes me unhappy. Okay. Let's go back to main.sublime menu. And this again. Did I just open that second time? No, I didn't. Okay, it's not a preferences thing. It's this. It's a this thing. Table of contents. Okay. The question is, what happens if you do this? Without a caption, right? And the answer I'm going to guess is unhappiness. Viewing help for yeah, hyper help, open bookmark. Right. Not what we want. Well, it works. I would have thought that it should return invalid bookmark index, to be perfectly honest. Because it should be calling bookmark name for the bookmark if it's not none, otherwise invalid bookmark index, but it's calling that. So that makes me wonder if this is actually working. So let's say, oh, maybe it's only called when the argument is provided. So I think I could probably do this. Okay, what does that do? Because that's still doing a thing, huh? That's doing that. Now let's say print description for IDX equals %s %bookmark IDX, like so. Open the console. Maybe reload the thing just to be sure. And description for IDX none. Look, it's happening already. Oh yeah, because the menu is opening. Now we're seeing that. Why are we not seeing? What logic am I missing here? Print bmark, let's say. Okay, and again, we open it. We don't even get that far, huh? Seems like it should be displaying some stuff there. Da -da, da -da -da. Does this still work? Let's add another one, shall we? Just so we can do that. And then we can see for sure. We're going to start that. I must admit, I've never done this in this particular thing before. Description for none for equals 0 and that. And we end up with that one for the one that had an explicit caption. This one is the fudge. Let's do that so we can see them all. Go that one more time. Just to go ahead and track on through here. There we can see the code. As soon as we open that, It gets called 3 times. One with index is none. One with index is 0. Oh, sorry, I think it's called twice. My bad. And in that case, so this makes sense because this one has a caption, so it doesn't need to call description. This is the one where index is none, and we see it not printing bookmark, which really seems like it should be returning invalid bookmark, but it's returning hyperhelp open bookmark instead, or if you will, that's the name of the command. So that's what appears here. And in this one, it actually does that. Well, let's do this. If bmark is none, return, whoops. As I was saying before, I think before I lost myself in thought, I've never used description like this in a place where something can also appear in the command palette. So let's not worry about that, and let's not worry about that. Let's just leave it the way it was. See, it's something that could be looked at later. That's the one we expect. That's not the one we expect, but it does the same thing as that one. And the third one is the one that actually displays the bookmark name. This is one of those things where I could just sit here for like an hour thinking about how this should work. Should this include the text bookmark colon? Probably people don't want to have bookmark colon in front of their bookmarks. Certainly if there was a bunch of them in the list, that would be irritating. Maybe you sometimes want it. Should there be some sort of setting or temporary something? These are the sorts of things, when you just constantly have problems spinning around in your head that you wonder the answers to. You end up talking to yourself in a live stream for an extended period of time. So we're going to leave that exactly as is. Come over here. Now we're going to say there's a couple of modified files. But that one we want to keep fudge. And these we want to be gone, right? We just want that one, so we'll discard those lines. And that, what? Oh yeah, did I delete a line there? I think I deleted a line there. Let's go ahead and open that just to double check. Where are you, cursor? Okay, yeah, that was the place where there was an extra line that I don't want one, so we're going to leave that out. And so now we've removed that line. We've added, oh, this should not be here either, an extra section for the bookmarked things. So just to double check, that looks like this. And maybe that should be up here. You know what? Let's go ahead and throw that up there. Maybe we don't want this part here at all. Maybe we want it up here prior to that, like so. We still want that line to be gone. Now we don't need quite so many of those. And how does this look different than it did before is the bajillionty dollar question. There is a separator there where there wasn't before. Yes, I wanted that on purpose because those menu items for the history at the bottom there are irritating. And this right above here is where the command that lets you navigate history would appear. So help on help, browse available help, open bookmark topic, showing me what help I'm viewing, saying I can view the table of contents or the help index for that, which is why these are under it. And this is the history for the current thing. So that looks good. We are in the menu. And we're going to stage this file. We are looking at adding that command. So we'll stage that file, and this is the actual command itself. Stage that file and say, include a command for opening a bookmark. This command allows the user to navigate to one of their defined bookmarks, optionally allowing them to either explicitly specify the index of the bookmark to display or be prompted in the command palette for the bookmark to display. And there we go for that. Now we can continue on, and I'm just going to close that for a second. And we don't need that. And there's this. Now that is add bookmark name, and default is something. Well, I used a different default than that because I thought about it more while I was doing it. Flesh out the bookmark selector. That seems like something we did. It's got more methods than it had when we started. Add to the main menu. That sounds like something we did. A command to add a bookmark. Okay, now this one's going to be slightly more complicated. It's going to take a type of thing and a name, which is going to default to the caption of something. Then we want to also add that to the context menu. And if we get to that, history browse. So here is, again, the idea of iterating on how this is going to work. So the first thing we're going to do is say class hyperhelp create bookmark. Sublime plugin dot, we'll say application command, because there's only one of them. Can we make this work? Let's find out. And we're going to define a method named run, and argument it's going to take our bmark type and bmark name just to start while we think about how this is going to work. And is enabled. And here, well, you know what? I think we can just say star kwrgs because we want create bookmark to only be active when the active view is a help view, I'm thinking. We don't have to do this. We could make it conversant on there actually being one of these things, and then it could try to do something to bookmark this, even if this one has the focus. But I like the idea of this help has to be focused. Because what we're going to try to do is, again, this. We're going to provide the user the ability via this bmark type option to say, I want to bookmark this file as a whole, in which case it'll just pick this. Or I want to bookmark the topic under the cursor, which theoretically might also still be a file name. Or we might allow them to just say, I want to bookmark what the view currently looks like, just like so. And it'll save the selection and the viewport and restore that later. So in all of those cases, I like the idea of you have to focus on this file to do something in that case. And we don't want the is enabled. It doesn't give a patoot about what arguments are provided because this is the only thing that matters. So do I have something for is help view? I don't think I do. Current help file. What does this do? No, those two things. Okay, look, check this out. From hyperhelp.core import current help package and current help file. Oh, sorry. From hyperhelp.common import those things. So if I say, while this view is focused, current help file, it tells me that because I didn't provide a view and I didn't provide a window, So it just finds the help view in the window you provide, which looks up the current window and provides a view, and it looks up that magic setting or returns none. So that worked there because this has the setting, but if this file has the focus, when I do it, still works because it's finding help view, right? And help view is that view over there, even though this one has the focus. But if I pass view, which is the focused view, we end up with none. And the same thing will happen for current help package. In this view is nothing, but the current help package in this view is Sublime API, and the current help package, even if you don't provide one, is that. So with those two things in mind, and are these already in this file? Yes, they are, right? Current help package. We don't have current help file. We don't have current help file. So let's cut that out and from .common import current help file and current help package, just to have one extra one. And yeah, it's mad because of that. We can say view equals sublime.activeWindow.activeView, and then say if view is not none. And to be honest, is it possible for the active window to not have an active view? No, I don't think so. If view is not none, return current help file for view is not none. And again, I don't know the good way to make this look Pythonic. Current help package view is not none. Return false. Thus, the command does nothing and can't do anything anyway. Find the active window, find the view that's active in the window. If there isn't one, return false. If there is one, return true, this is active. If the help file isn't none and the help package isn't none, which means this command is only available when the current view in the current window is the help view. Now, this could be done by saying hyperhelp create bookmark as a text command because there's one of those created for every view, in which case it could just say it doesn't need to do that part, say. As a matter of fact, maybe there's even a cleverer way to do this now that I think about it. But besides that, if this was a window command instead of a text command, then there'd be one for every window, and then we don't have to do that part, and we could just check the active view. But I want this to be an application command because no matter how many views you have open, no matter how many windows you have open, we really only need one instance of this command. Now, the thought occurs that I could say the current view is the active view in the active window. And I'm going to say EQ on view determines if the thing is the same view ID or not. Okay, so we're going to say help view is equal to find help view sublime dot active window and just return current view equals help view. I think we don't have to do that. We don't have to do that. And current view is not none. Okay, again, is it possible? I don't think so. I think there always has to be at least one window. Although possibly not, because Mac OS is a bit of a butt and likes to have applications running when they don't have available windows. And I do have a Mac to my right, but I'm not interested in swirling my chair to the right and logging in and doing stuff. Certainly not during a live stream, so we're not going to worry about that. So we're going to assume it's possible. So this has to be none or something. This has to be none or something. And this command is only available when both of them are the same, which they would be if they're both views that represent the same ID, or when they're both none, i.e. there's no active window, then there's no help view in the active window. I could probably modify this a little bit by saying something a different way, but I'm calling active window too many times here. I don't like it. Let's do that. And then we can do this. As a matter of fact, we might even say let's say do that. If window. That's too long. Get the window, get the current view, get the help view in this window, and then make sure they're the same. So that is that. And we need to add this to a menu so that we can verify. And we're going to add this to main.sublime menu in hyperhelp. Again, it's not a preference. It's here. And let's say we do thus. And the caption is bookmark current help topic. And we're going to include this because our command is going to ask you for what you want to bookmark this thing as. And the command is hyperhelp create bookmark. We don't need that. We can do that now. Here, the command is disabled. And here, the command is enabled, but when I click it, the oh, did I pick the wrong one? Bookmark current help topic. The console is real mad because we didn't pass anything here. Okay, so that's stage one. And as a matter of fact, we should also, while we are remembering bookmark current help topic, we should also do it here. Bookmark current help topic. And this should be create bookmark. So do we see a create bookmark there? No, because this isn't the help view, so the command is disabled, so the command palette hides it. Hyperhelp, bookmark current help topic. Boop. Maybe we should name it create bookmark. Yes, we should. I'm glad I thought of that after I closed the menu file. So we'll do that and close that and oops. Main.sublime menu there. It's not a preference. Do this. Create bookmark. Okay. Now looking okay. Now looking good. Is this sort of thing that really needs to be? Yep. Okay. Close that. We have that is something that we don't care about. We'll close that. Close that. We are here. We got 33 minutes left in this stream and we're trucking along. Hopefully with adequate volume levels. I'm seeing a lot of yellow over there in the meters. So I'm pretty sure I was seeing that last week and it was damn quiet for some reason. So how do we want this to work? Now, this is the sort of thing where I have the general gist in my head. How do I want this to work? But I need to work through just to see, because this is going to be one of those things where we say def input and self and args, just like we did above. And if args.get bmark type is none, then return bookmark type input handler. And args.get bmark name is none. And again, this is new territory because I've never done this with something that requires multiple potential arguments before. I know you can chain these things. We'll see how we get on. Return bookmark name input handler. Okay, now I concern myself that my nose is tickling like I need a desperate sneeze. Let's take that back to something we were looking at before. Create bookmark. And when I run it, the console is mad because I haven't added the input handlers, but otherwise seems potentially okay. So let's do that. Now, I'm going to say that all of our input handlers should be clumped together. Realistically, they should probably be up at the top of the file. But again, that's the sort of thing that can happen later. So this is bookmark type input handler, which is going to be a list input handler because we are going to provide the options to bookmark the current file, bookmark the current topic, and bookmark the current overall viewport. And that's going to be a list of items. And so we are going to do def list items self and return. Now this is really simplistic. We need what? I'm going to say in this fashion, the text is, I already lost my list. Create bookmark type, bookmark current file, and that's going to have the value of file when the argument is executed. The next one is going to be current topic, and that's going to be topic, and we're going to add one more for current view and view. We can change the names of those later. That is that one, and we're going to need more work on both of these. Class bookmark name input handler. And this is a Sublime plugin.text input handler. And we can look at that over here. Thusly, because is there anything we actually need to do here? Oh, this actually gets args. Right on, right on. Okay. This is something that we might need to do something with. We're going to find out. No, that needed to be there. But the arguments here are placeholder, initial text, preview, validate. So technically speaking, this class doesn't need to do doodly. So I'm just going to throw a pass in here just to shut it up for a minute. Oh, actually, that is not entirely true. Bookmark name, input handler. This needs to implement name. My bad. Def name. Return bmark name. And this one also needs to do the same thing. because I think the command argument there is bookmark type. Yeah. Close call. And that's, oh, we are unhappy at line 139 just because there's a weird pass here. We don't need that anymore, and we don't need that. Okay, there, that'll make it happy. In this one, bookmark IDX input handler, we know that when you create a command like this, Sublime changes all the uppercase letters to lowercase characters, preceded by an underscore, except at the beginning where it's just lowercase. Then it throws away underscore command at the end, and it ends up with the command name. So hyperhelp open bookmark command becomes the command hyperhelp open bookmark, all lowercase with dashes. The same is also done for input handlers. It assumes that the argument to the command that this input handler represents is an argument that you would get by turning all the uppercase letters to lowercase and preceding them with underscores, except for the first one where it's just lowercase. And then if the text handler appears at the end, throw it away, or sorry, input handler. So bookmark IDX input handler becomes the argument handler for bookmark underscore IDX. Now here, the argument name is bookmark type, but I don't want to name this class bmark type input handler. I want to call it bookmark type input handler. And I also don't want that argument to be named bookmark type. I mean, maybe I will later, but for right now I don't. So these arguments tell it how to associate. And I think that might actually create something. But let's see. Whoa. But you got to do it in the help view. Create bookmark. Now it's showing the command name. It's asking me to choose the sort of bookmark to create. So let's say topic. And now it's asking me for the name of the bookmark, and then it's going to run the command. So we do need some more action in here. So let's something that I think is undocumented. Well, maybe it is, but I can't remember. Hang on. I'm going to do this. I'm going to say VPF user scratch buffer.py because I did this here for the scratch buffer command input description. That's what we want. Is that actually in here? No, it's not. Haha, an undocumented thing. And let's discuss what we are doing here. This is the open bookmark command. No, we want the actual create bookmark command, which is here. So we will add this. Well, you know what? Let's add it next to input. And we're going to comment that out for just a second properly and say that when I say, unless I say create bookmark, in the command palette, the entry, the caption is hyperhelp : create bookmark. So when I run it, the command name we see there is hyperhelp create bookmark because that's what the caption of the thing is, which is irritating. You don't need that whole thing there. But if I was to uncomment this and I say create bookmark, now it says scratch buffer because it's using this as the input description. And this is actually something that should be documented because it's a thing that exists and it was added right around the time that this whole input handler thing was added because of this very reason. But it's not in the official documentation. You probably mentioned that to somebody. It's actually going to be called create bookmark. Okay, so that's going to solve that. It's going to say create bookmark. Okay, that's good. Now, the first argument here is this one. So I'm going to also say def placeholder, which I think is This takes no arguments? Yeah, okay. We are going to return bookmark type. So that it says bookmark type over there, so we know what the hell it is we're picking here. When I pick current file, now it's asking me for the input, and I think this is the thing that I'm not doing right. But we can do the, whoops, same thing here. Return name. Go like so. And CRB. So we're creating a bookmark type thus, and now it's asking us for the name of bookmark here. Now for our purposes, just to see if this is actually doing what we expect it to be doing, I'm going to jump down here and say print creating bookmark type %s with name %s and throw in bmark type and bmark name. We don't need pass anymore. I'm going to open the console so we can see something happening. And when I create bookmark, we get a type of, say, topic, because that's not the default, and the name as name goes here. And we can see creating bookmark of type topic with name goes here. So trivially, this works. But I think what we'd like to see is after you specify the bookmark type, you get to be prompted for the name, but you maybe still get to see the type. I think that's possible. I'm not sure if it's possible. This is an exploratory thing, as I have never done this with something that requires multiple arguments that it's prompting for before. So let's say we say here, next input, and say, because that's totally a thing, right? Yeah. If, well, actually this would be the same thing that's down here. I just want to see what this does. Because my theory is perhaps if we do this, then after you enter the topic type, it'll immediately prompt you for the name, and then it'll leave the type up there in the command palette. So create bookmark, and we're going to say that, and there we go. Current file, and that's asking for name goes here. And now it's created a bookmark of type file with name goes here. The question becomes, do I want to do the same thing here, specifically for this reason? Well, no, we don't want that file. We want to, whoops, hyperhelp Sublime commands. This is the thing we added, right? So we're creating a bookmark, and we're not passing any arguments, so it needs to ask us for both of them. So that still works. I'm going to bring that down. We can fix this in a second. If I said args and passed no arguments to the thing, which is the same as passing no arguments to the thing, then when I create a bookmark, I can say view and stuff, and it says view and stuff, and that worked like we expected. Now I'm going to change this. I'm going to say bmark name. No, sorry, bmark type is view. Thus, what happens when I do this? It's asking us explicitly for the name because we provided a view. If I backspace, it comes out, okay. And we put name here, and we get view with name here. Okay, now if this was bmark name something, when I do it over here, now it's asking me for the type. Let me say topic, because that's not the default. And it just goes. It doesn't prompt us. Is there a way to stack those things together? I'm not entirely sure. I mean, merge does it, I think. But the important thing is the way we have it defined right now, that seems to work here. So at first blush, this seems to do what we want. With the possible caveat that if you call the thing with a type that is incorrect, you're perhaps unhappy. But that's something to worry about when we actually start creating the thing. Well, maybe we'd want to change this to this file. Change this to this topic. Change this to this view. Okay, so we're going to go back to the way we had it originally, which looks like that, and close that because I'm relatively assured that's probably going to do what we want. And whoa. I don't know how I did that. I caught it on video though. Bookmark this file, this topic, this view. And we also want to add one more thing there for that, which is def preview, which I think works like that. No list input handler. Called whenever the user changes the text in the entry box, the returned value, either plain text or HTML, will be shown in the preview area of the command palette. The value argument will be provided when list items returns a list of tuples. Otherwise, it's not given. Okay, so sorry, this goes text value. And what this is going to do is it's going to call this with this value as the text and this value as the value. And if you just returned a list of strings, then this is what you see in the command palette. It's also what the value is returned as, which we can see that's how the bookmark one works. In that case, it doesn't pass value because it's the same as text. This is actually something that's not technically documented in the official documentation. So snappy is better. Whoop! And if I go back over to here, I can even see the magic of forgetting how my code works and saying we want to return something like so. Perhaps. Because if you want to display HTML, you got to wrap it in a class like thus, which it occurs to me is totally not documented anywhere and is not in the snappy help. That's also something that should probably be added. How the hell did I even figure this out? I'm not entirely sure. It's not in the help, is it? Nope. No, well, maybe it is in there. Nope. Well, that's neither here nor there. We're going to do that. We're going to do, whoops. Maybe if I actually copy it, then it's in the clipboard and I can paste it. That seems like an idea. Now, that's going to display something dumb, but it'll display something. Oops. No, not that one. CRB. Preview missing one required positional argument value. Is that not what it was just doing here? Does it only work with lists? Well, that really seems maybe it doesn't do that. Maybe someone lied to me. That? Did I just talk out my butt? Because I totally I thought I vetted that when I was going through the issue. Stop doing that. It's CRB. List index out of range. Yeah, okay. Well, one could have expected that. Okay, that was a dumb idea. Sublime.html. Strong. Well, yeah. We'll work it out this way. How do we want to do this? Well, you know what? Maybe we actually want literally that. And the argument we're passing in is value. Then, well, we'll just say value here just for the time being. And another one of those so that it works. Bye. Yeah, we can see the preview down there displaying some stuff. It basically is displaying the type bold and not. So what do we actually want to put in here? Well, I guess we probably need some sort of dictionary that maps. What's the clever way to do that? What if I wanted the text associated with the thing? Oh, that's right. I was double talking out of my butt. Should this not say text and value? Again, now I'm totally confusing myself. Nope, that's totally unhappy. Sublime plugin at line 819 in preview calls self.preview v, so it's missing one positional argument value. So no, it doesn't do that. I'm absolutely gobsmacked about that whole thing. I'm probably missing something incredibly stupid there. So the argument it's going to receive, as we saw, is file, topic, or view. So I don't know, like name is equal to something. Let's say this. If value is equal to file, then name is equal to current file, and description equals bookmark, create a bookmark to this particular file. Create a bookmark that opens this help file. Okay, and then if value is equal to, and this is best done with dictionaries, but this is just hackiness here. If name is, then name is equal to current topic, and description is equal to create a bookmark on the currently selected topic. Otherwise, the name is current view, and the description is create a bookmark that returns you to this exact point. I mean, okay, and this is name and this is desk. And when we say CRB, boo. I fell into a little bit of a C there. Shamedy doodle doo. Okay, so now we say current file, create a bookmark that opens this help file, create a bookmark on the currently selected topic, and create a bookmark that returns you to this exact point, right? Good, and say we'll say this file, and then the name of the thing, and I think for, no, that should be there. Def preview self and return I mean, is that strictly necessary? I don't know, but it makes a nice user experience. So now we can do that and see, oh, okay, so I want to bookmark currently selected topic, fully for me. And, oh, that doesn't actually do something because preview takes one positional argument, but two were given. So let's just double check the old text input handler. Preview. Okay, that one takes text. Okay. Still no, preview takes one argument, but two were given. At line 819 in Sublime plugin. Oh, hi. Derp factor 6. Okay. 500th time is the charm, ladies and gentlemen. The name for this bookmark. Some stuff. Okay, so we're going to call that good enough for the purposes of this. And now we just actually need create help book. Oh, there's one more thing we want to do. One more thing we want to do. I forgot. We only got 5 minutes in this stream. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going long by some amount until I get this working or decide that my shoulder hurts and I want to go to bed. Particularly because the option to bookmark the current topic should only exist if the cursor is actually on an anchor. It shouldn't work in regular text because there is no current topic unless the help view tried to keep track of what the last topic that you navigated to in this file. But that is not something that I want to get into now or maybe ever. But we can work that out. In order for us to know that, the bookmark type would have to take the thought occurs that this doesn't need to call, oh, it needs to call window to get the active window for that. So it's just calling that to be sure. Okay, I was going to say, you can just call find help view and it will find the active help view in the current window. So there's no need for us to do that there. And we know this command is only executable when the current help view is actually a help view. So the bookmark type input handler can take a find help view. Thus, now it's going to break because we don't have an init. So we see run is missing the, well, I can show you here. When it tries to call this, we haven't specified an init method that takes a second argument, so that part fails, and as a result, the ability for the input handler to figure out what the arguments are also fails, so it throws the argument that made it try to ask for the input in the first place, and everything busts. So what we just got to do is hop up here, be a little unhappy at how that tends to happen. like so. I can patch that so that it doesn't do that. So this is the bookmark type input handler. It needs to take a def underscore init and help view, and we're going to say super dot init and then say self dot view equals help view. Okay, so with that in place, things are back to working again. And now when we call list items, we only want to inject this one into the list if the current cursor location in that view is on a topic. So first of all, let's work out how to do that. And we say self dot view dot cell 0 dot b. Cursor, the point we care about is the B point of the first selection in the view. I don't want to file manager this up, so I'm going to say cell equals self.view.cell, and then say if cell point is equal to the point is equal to cell.b. Okay. No. I spent too much time doing things in my head and not describing them as I'm actually doing them in these live streams. And I'm going to stop for just a second and take a drink of water while we ponder how there's 44 seconds left on the timer. Here's the issue. Self-view cell always returns a selection object. Self-view cell 0 returns the first selection unless someone cleared the selection so there's no cursors in a view, which is technically possible if a plugin does it. I've done it in my own plugins, and it annoys the ever-loving crap out of me when I use things and it just spams the console with errors because there's no selection when it was expecting one. I think I can say if self.view.cell because there's a timer. We're going to stop it. We're going long, ladies and gentlemen. We're going long. I think I can say that because I think if I said len on selection, returns a number of, is there a bool in here? Returns true. If the view ID of this selection is 0. Oh, fudge. If the length of that is greater than 0, then the point we care about is the B point. And, okay, now let's say, items is equal to this. And then items dot append this. So it always has those two things. I'm not even sure if you can do that. We'll find out though. And in the middle is that one. So if the length of the view selection is greater than 0, then there is a selection. Find the B point of the first selection and say if self.view.match selector point and double checking meta.anchor, which means this will only work for visible anchors and not hidden anchors. Then that, but this is topic, and this is this topic. And then whoops, went too far. Return items. Now, I don't know if you can add a tuple that way to a list, but I guess we're going to find out in a second, aren't we? So now the cursor is not in anything, and when I type CRB, I'm getting this file and this view, which is what I expect, right? And if it's inside an anchor, now it works. Boss, there's probably a much better way to do this. I wonder if I could create the list like that and insert something in the middle. Maybe that's a nicer way to do it? I don't know. Whoops, I knocked over my boogie board. This thing is a little too big for that holder. I'm going to go over here and type Python insert in list, because I don't know that I've ever actually done that before. List.insert index inserts the element at the given index, shifting elements to the right. All right, well, that seems to make sense then. So let's go ahead and do that and this, because I think that looks a little nicer. For me, that's the list of items, and if that's the case, then items.insert at index 1, that tuple, reload, and if I do it here, file topic view, and if I do it here, file view. Swank. There may be issues with that when it comes time to actually execute the command. We can worry about that and maybe abstract some of this away. Now, I guess the other part of this that's irritating is this. So I might say names is a dictionary where file is current file and topic is current topic with a different case, and view is current view, and descriptions is a dictionary where that, but this is bookmark the current help file. This one is bookmark the topic currently under the cursor. Bookmark the current help view. And then we return this, and this becomes names.get value unknown, and this returns desks.get value unknown. Just as a safety, and we will close that call. And maybe we want another one so we can close not only the format but the sublime.html call. Reload that, and so here, create bookmark, current file, bookmark the current help file, bookmarks, bookmark the current help view, right? And here, create bookmark the current help file, bookmark the topic currently under the cursor, bookmark the current help view, and then the name for this bookmark. And we actually want a default name to populate in there as well. This is where things start to potentially go a little pear-shaped. That is for that's all the list items for that. Now, these actually maybe should be instance variables or top level globals or something. I kind of like the idea of having them inlined in the class. They look kind of gross here. So maybe I gank those and throw them in here. And then do that. And for sanity purposes, I'll do this so that I can verify that current help file, current help view, and oops, file topic view. Okay. So now we need the name for the bookmark. We want to have a default name. So, actually we need to provide a list input handler that allows the user to select bookmark type by showing them a list of the currently valid types to choose from. Okay. And this one is prompt the user for the name of a bookmark, showing a default and allowing the user to update as desired. And we're going to go ahead and say init self default name. And we're going to start that by saying super.init and self.default name equals default name. And we're actually going to make this be an empty string. And you cannot remember offhand. There's more than one of those. That's unfortunate. I'll do it here instead. Okay. Initial text is the one we want. Return self.default name. Okay. So at first blush, hey, look, the indexer displayed stuff in the console. How often does that happen? I abandoned the crawl because I saved the file and then immediately saved it again. Fun information. Okay, create bookmark, and doesn't matter which one I pick. And ooh, run, missing one additional argument bookmark name. What did I do? I broke my code. Descriptor, init of super object needs an argument. Oh, whoops. My bad. Okay, so now the default is just nothing right now, right? Okay, so that means that when we call name input handler here, we can provide a default name based on the current situation. And there's, say, a couple of things here. Let's go ahead and say def default name. Just add some text and we'll insert self.default name here. So now when we say CRB, we end up with, Oh, that did not do what I thought it would do. Why is the initial text not that? Do. Yeah, that's what I meant to do. I totally meant to do that. Okay, well, it's initialized with default name. Dang, default name is default name. Initial text is that dong. So it's not actually calling that. Oh, shnikey. Okay, we're going to have to do that a different way. We're going to do this. The reason for that is because there's more than one place where bookmark name input handler gets created. There's also one here. Oops. Find help view. Thus, and so instead of saying this, we're going to make this be an argument of help view like I did up there. And it is absolutely required. Self.view is equal to help view. And now this is where we would do something clever. So we're going to return dang. Instead of that, reload everything. CRB, this bad boy, and init missing one positional argument, help view, bookmark name input. Did I forget to add it in one place? Name input handler, find help view, right? Did I not just add that there? What the hell did I do? Oh, I'm unhappy that I may have done something stupid. I can revert these because I'm not looking things up the way I thought I was going to. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Put that back to the way it was. And let's just take a look. The bookmark type input handler captures the help view. And the preview is that. Next input is that bookmark name input handler. Doesn't need to do that. And here, oh, okay, I guess I confused myself slightly there. Okay, now, because I deleted imports, I'm going to do that one more time. Seems to have loaded okay. And, oh, that's what I'm going to say, open bookmark. And run missing one positional argument, bookmark index, because I broke something. Oh. Yeah, right. This one isn't supposed to have something in it. That's the one I thought that I had done something with. Oh, right on. Okay, if I open a bookmarked help topic, that works as expected. And if I create one, now the default is dang. Right on. So this is where we need to return some sort of default name for a bookmark. Now, I originally had the idea that this thing we added up here might do that, but this requires us to have a package and a topic. And then it would look it up. So this is an example of maybe this needs to be changed. And sadly, now I need the two things that I just took out of the top of the file. Ah, I got ahead of myself, and as a result, I am displeased with my ability to not be an idiot. Especially since there's a very good chance that I actually didn't need the help view here. No, I do. I'm getting the file. Right. Oh, phew. Okay. So maybe I'm okay here. Okay, and once again, I'm going to cut that out and from .common import current help file and current help package. Okay, now bookmark type input handler, all good. Bookmark name input handler. We need to get current help package. Should always work. How are we displaying help? It's possible that the help view is open and then you quit Sublime and then you uninstall the help package. So it is possible for this to be none. And we're going to say file is equal to current help file. Now, how do we perform some level of if package info is none, return topic blah and missing package blah and don't do that. Yeah. The first thing is file, which should always be set, and the second one should be current help package. So we figure out the help index for whatever the currently displayed help file is. It's possible for this to return none, even though this setting that tells us the package exists. If, for example, if I quit Sublime right now and deleted the API help or the index for Snappy, when I restarted, this would still work. I wouldn't be able to follow any anchors, any topic or links. All the links would be broken because it doesn't know but the thing anymore. But I could still run the command to create a bookmark, in which case what it's going to do is return a name that says that the topic is in a missing package. And otherwise, it's going to return dang, let's say, because we're not going to look up a help topic per se. Well, we might. So we'll leave that there. Otherwise, it's going to do that. Now, for our purposes, this should, if I create a bookmark, it's dang, right? If I said package info is none to pretend that I didn't know what this package is, create bookmark. The name of this bookmark is topic view text in missing package Sublime API, the name for this bookmark. Right on. Okay, so that's something we're probably never going to see. But, and we can investigate in the future. Maybe the command shouldn't be available if this is the case. Then we don't have to worry about it. That might actually be a better way to do this. Or maybe I already did that. Create bookmark. Hyper help create. Oh. I hate when I do that. There. Okay, return. The current view has to be a help view for this to be active. And the current view can't be none because it's possible for help view to be none, and maybe it's theoretically possible for the current view to also be none. Oh, let's go ahead and say if window is not none, else none, just for safety's sake. And help index list dot get current help package is not none. Okay. Now I can create a bookmark and it wants to work. And view.settings.get HH package says that, right? So view settings.set. Now, various things would be broken. Like if I try to follow this link, well, we can see it says it's linking to Sublime API region text region because that's what it knows, even though that's not what the current package is. But if I tried to create a bookmark, it should not be able to, I would have thought. Huh. What the oh, did I do that? Well, let's do this. In the world of oh, okay. I'm gonna do that because I did that thing where whoa, something's unhappy. Oh yeah, it's good and broken now. Okay. Function object has no attribute get. There we go. That and that. Okay, the reason I'm guessing for that is remember you saw me add command here because I forgot. I'm assuming that the two classes exist in memory under different names, but they are the same command, and it was still using the old one and not the new one. So restarting cleared things. Reload thus. Now, can't create a bookmark there. Probably a better way to check that is to go here. We cannot create a bookmark. See it saying none all the time. And if I said view settings set to this is Sublime API. Now, every time I open the menu, whoop, all kinds of crap jumps. Oh, because it's actually printing the help index for the thing. But yeah, we can see it works now. So good. Remove that. Now we can go back to bookmark name, handlers, definition. Be assured that package info is always going to be looked up and file is always going to be looked up. We know file is always going to be looked up simply because current help package and current help file only return a sensible value when there's a help view open, and it can only figure them out if it has the settings, and we know that help package is definitely set or to a package that exists, otherwise the command wouldn't be executable, and we know that the help file is going to return something. Do we know what's the name of the current file? No, we're just taking that as read. So we don't have to do that. Now, what is our initial text gonna be? This is the thing where this. So, lost my train of thought, went too far. That is enabled. Oh, yeah, because it's up here. Okay, so if the file, the current help file, is in the list of package info help files, then return the caption for that file. Otherwise, return dang. Okay, so here I am in a help file. If I say create a bookmark and I pick this view, I get something I wasn't expecting. Oh, right, because it's always the current file. Okay, so yeah, that is doing what we want. Again, create bookmark. This file, Sublime View class, would be the name of the bookmark that is created. Right on. Okay, so I guess at some level we might need to know the type of bookmark that was created. By the user. I think that is entirely possible. By saying in the input handler bmark type. No, we're going to put it at the end. And we're going to say bmark type is none. What I'm thinking here is, oh, this is some complicated action. So let's leave that out for now. And say if we need to do this. So we're going to get the current help package. We're going to get that. Well, maybe we'll do it in this order first. So if there is a selection in the view, get the point. If it matches an anchor, then we want self.view.extract scope. And I'm going to go ahead and do that. Oh, and that. Returns the extent of the scope name applied to the character at the given point. And we're going to extract scope at point, and we're going to say topic equals self.view.subster that. To obtain a topic text, and then we're going to do this. Look up the help topic for topic text, and we're going to say if topic is not none, return topic caption. So take that out. So what is the initial text for the name of the bookmark? Well, if there is a selection if there is any cursors in the file and the first one is in an anchor, then grab the entire text of the anchor. Guess what? That is no longer correct. Go me. That's going to take a little more work because we need to find its index in the list of regions, and I don't know. Well, we're not going to commit this tonight because the stream is going to end. I have been going for 2 hours and 39 minutes, so I just want to just get something working here, and then again we'll leave this and come back to it on Sunday. Although there is every possibility this time that I might actually flesh this out more. This is not technically correct because of that change we made a few streams back where the anchor, this is actually a region in the list of things, and then we have to figure out what its ID is based on that. So this is some more trickiness that needs to happen. So for now, we're going to leave that and we're going to say, okay, so if we came in and we could look up the topic, then return its caption. Otherwise, get the package info. And if the file is in the list of help files, return the help file name, which should almost always be the case. Again, this can only not be the case if the index has changed. And otherwise, we need some sort of fallback here. These are the sorts of things that I didn't fully, I knew I wanted to do this, but all of the myriad possible situations that this could happen in and what we actually want to display here. What do we want to display if the cursor isn't on a topic, so we can't show its caption, and this file isn't in the list of things in the index? I think we would say file blah in help package blah dot format file package info dot package. So to test, I create a bookmark and I'm getting the title of the file, sublime.view class. And I create, if I put it on view extract scope and create a bookmark, doesn't matter which one. Oh, local variable package info referenced before assignment. Oh, right. Okay, because I actually used it there. So I do, in fact, need to have this at the top. Right. Okay. I forgot. I'm just going to do that. Okay, so let's double check again. Create a bookmark, and the file name is that. If I have it in a thing and I create a bookmark, now it's giving me the caption, which is view extract scope, which is what I would expect. And if I said view.settings. Well, I'm going to get HH file and then set HH file to something.text. If I was to try to create a bookmark in here, it should give me the file something.txt in help package Sublime API. Right on. Okay, so we're going to skip that part. What we ultimately want to do, and this is probably something that I may end up doing before the next stream, and just cleaning up all of this placeholder stuff, is that bookmark name input handler should take an extra argument for bookmark type, where bookmark type would be one of the things up here. It would be file, view, or topic. And based on that, it would know that if you said you were going to bookmark a file, it would do this. If you thought it was going to bookmark a topic, it would do this. And if you thought it was going to bookmark a view, then it would do this, but also add some text to say like view in brackets or something. So you can distinguish it for it's capturing an exact snapshot of the screen. Now, in order for that to work, in order for this to have a second argument and get that type, we need to do two things. First, down here in the help create bookmark command, when we say bookmark name input handler, we would have to, well, we assume that bookmark type is first. So if we're called and we don't have a bookmark type, this input returns right away to go get it and that's that. And then after input type handler happens, it calls calls next input and says if there's not a name in the arguments, prompt for that name too. And then that name is going to be doing something. So what we would do is say, okay, in this case, if bookmark type wasn't given, then it's going to call input type handler. And when input type handler calls next input, here it's going to pass the actual selected item from the list, which we can get if I did list input handler validate. This is called whenever the user presses enter to return false to disallow the current value, but it's going to tell us the actual selected text of the argument. You know what? Let's just go ahead and do the thing. Let's do it right now, and then I won't actually modify the how the caption works because I do need to get to bed, and this stream is ridiculously long and hopefully loud, but not too loud. So bookmark type input handler, there's going to be def validate self text, and I'm going to print validating %s mod text and return true. So we can see what's happening in the console. Okay, I'm going to open the console, and when I say create bookmark, it's going to ask me for a bookmark type. I'm going to do whatever I want, and when I pick one, it's going to say validating view, right? So here in validating, I can say self dot bmark type is equal to text. It's not really text, it's actually the value. So maybe I'll change from that to value just to clarify. Whoops. That one we don't want, and that we do want. And now when we call back name input handler, we pass it a help view, and we pass it self bmark type. So when we call bookmark name input handler after choosing a bookmark type, it'll pass the selected one. And then down here in the, whoops, didn't go far enough. If the bookmark type argument isn't provided, it goes and does that, and then it calls next input, does that thing we just did. Otherwise, then here we would say args.get bmark type. Now, because we're doing that, we might want to say bmark type is equal to args.get bmark type. And then we can say if bmark type is none, do that. Otherwise, call this with the argument bmark type as such. So what that's going to do is if the argument isn't provided, it's going to ask, and then it's going to promote along. It's going to call bookmark name input handler with the one that user selected. Otherwise, that argument was provided, i.e. you added it to the command arguments when you invoked it. And if it also has to ask you for name, it's just going to flat out pass that type in. So this is the point where that could actually be invalid. But if we jump up here to this, we want to change this to also include bmark type and say self.bmark type is equal to bmark type. And now when we do initial text, we can say print initial text for bookmark of type %s mod self.bmark type and reload. Now let's test the permutations. CRB, create bookmark. I'm going to pick file, and the console says initial text for bookmark of type file. And it's doing something, but we don't care. If I did the same thing again, but pick view, we get bookmark for file of type view, which is what we expect. And when I do it here and pick topic, it says initial text for bookmark of type topic, which again is what we want. Now, if I said sublime.run command, and the command is hyperhelp create bookmark. Okay, well, if I just did that, that happens, right? Whoops. If I said one of the args was bmark type, and I passed view to this, then as soon as I hit it, it says initial text for bookmark of type view because it selected the one that was chosen. Now that means if you pass bogus crap in here, it's going to do that. So this has to be smart enough to know how to do that. And I'm guessing that would be the fallback type thing, or it could display a warning in the console. But the next task would be to modify how this comes up with the initial text based on the type of the bookmark. And then we can jump into the actual code for creating the bookmark. Basically, the run method has to do something than just say that it's creating a bookmark with a type. It actually needs to do the work of creating the bookmark. And while I may clean up this input handler code and possibly commit it before the next live stream, I will leave the create bookmark command for that live stream, which is going to happen on November the 18th at 8 p.m. PST. So if you're still here after 2 hours and 51 minutes of watching, well, thanks. I apologize for the last one being a little bit shorter and way quieter than it was supposed to be. Thanks for watching this one. Thanks for subscribing and continuing to support. Remember, if you have any questions about anything in any of the videos that I do, or any ideas or topics that you'd like me to talk about in a live stream, I'm happy to dedicate a live stream to that. You can subscribe to the channel, get a notification when I'm going live, hop right into the live chat and ask questions as they're happening and get a response that way. Or you can go to any video, drop a comment in the comments section, and I will answer you. Or you can also go to Twitter and send a message at OdatNurd there as well. But that is that. This is OdatNurd signing off for this live stream with some number whose number I do not actually even currently recall. I'm going to say live coding stream 9, picking up more bookmarks. Right on. So until that next live stream, I would encourage you to stay sublime.